Square foot gardening. A simple and practical method of growing vegetables and flowers that's especially suited for today's busy way of life. Here's the originator and host of Square Foot Gardening, Mel Bartholomew.
You know, back in colonial times, all of the gardens were filled with herbs because they were used for medicinal purposes as well as cooking. But today, we don't seem to have many herbs in our gardens. In fact, a lot of people don't even know how to pronounce herbs. I was one of those. I heard people calling them herbs with an H and other people calling them herbs with an E. Well, I found out then that either way is correct. It depends on whether you're English, they pronounce it herbs with an H, and the Americans usually pronounce it herbs with an E. But I don't care how you pronounce it. You should be growing it in your square foot garden. You can take one 4x4 block, any one of those that you have in your garden, and fill it with herbs, 16 different square feet of herbs. Or you can spread it out over the garden like I have mine. I have a couple here and a couple there. I think it's more interesting. Now, most everyone is familiar with, the onion family of herbs. For example, garlic. And the other one that some people grow are shallots. Sometimes they're called shallots. But either shallots or shallots, it's a mild onion flavor. And if you like something between an onion and a garlic, then you should grow shallots. They're very easy to grow. Just like all the onion family, you put them in early spring. But they multiply and you harvest the bulb, and that's what you use in cooking. Another member of the onion family are chives. Now these you can just harvest continually. You only need 1 square foot because you can put 9 of them in every single square foot. And you just cut the tops off like this. Chop them up and put them fresh in salads or soup. They really add quite a nice taste. Now all these things are for people, but I've got something for your pets. If you have a pussycat in your house, you should be growing catnip. It's very easy to grow, 4 in a square foot. All herbs are really easy to grow, and they're very attractive too. Look at this. See how it spreads? And you'll have more than you'll know what to do with. You just cut a couple of leaves or a couple of stems, maybe once a week, give them to your cat, and they'll just love them. It's kind of fun to watch them go after this. You can feed them fresh, or you can dry these. One of the nicest things about growing herbs in your garden, and one of the reasons I like to spread them out in different parts, is that as you brush against them, the aroma is just overwhelming. It's really nice. And then you reach down and touch the leaf, and that oil will come off the leaf, and you smell it, and really adds such a pleasant experience. So you're touring around the garden. And you know, when you walk around your garden more, you'll see more things that need doing. You'll take better care of your garden. That's all the basic principles of square foot garden. Now let me show you one of the herbs that has a very tiny but very intricate leaf. Very attractive too. This is thyme. There are many different varieties of thyme, but they are, again, very easy to grow. Really add a nice touch to the garden. Here's another one. This is marjoram. And that also has a nice look to it. Just think of a whole square foot just filled with these. And of course, mixed in with your flowers and your vegetables, you're really going to have an attractive garden if you add herbs to it. Well, now one thing everyone should have is basil right here. Everyone should be growing basil because it's not only easy to grow, it's so good. Now, here's another variety of basil that's quite nice for the square foot garden. It's called Spicy Globe. And look, it has leaves all the way through it. You can harvest this just like you can the sweet basil, but it grows in this nice dome shape. Gets quite large. You could even trim it up for your square foot garden if you want. Look how it grows if you let it just keep going. It's nice and big and bushy. Really a very attractive plant. You can use it in almost any dish that uses tomatoes, or it's particularly good with fish. You can use it for barbecuing. Again, you can dry these leaves and keep them over the whole winter. For example, if you want to cut oregano, you take it and cut the stems and then hang them up, usually in the garage, someplace that's dark but has lots of air movement, where there's no moisture. And after a while, these leaves will all dry, and then you crush them and put them in an airtight container, and you'll have herb seasonings to use through the whole winter. Well, it's really a lot of fun to grow herbs. Plus, there's so many advantages because they do extend the garden season right into the winter time. So I hope you'll consider several of the herbs that I've shown you. They grow in almost any part of the country. Put some in your square foot garden. Hand sprayers come in every imaginable size and shape and method of working. Well, the reason is not only because there's different manufacturers, but because there's different uses for hand sprayers. For example, you might want to spray the ground for new seeds, or when the seedlings first come up indoors, you want to give them a nice gentle spray. You might want to use a sprayer for insect control, or even for liquid fertilizer application. So let's look at several different kinds and see if we can find one just for you. First, let's take the most gentle or the finest sprayers. Something like this would really be nice. It's a very simple operation. You can see it's just a bulb, a rubber bulb. You plug the top like that, put your material in there, and then just squeeze it, and you got a spray. What could be easier than that? The next kind are those that we call trigger tops. And you just unscrew that, put your liquid in there, screw it down tight, and then just pull the trigger like that. And you can adjust the spray here to a fine spray or a long coarse spray. Of course, they come in all different size bottles, big ones or little ones, just about anything to suit your needs. Now, here's a rather interesting one. This comes with a power unit, sort of like a paint can sprayer. This is the power unit here you buy. This is normally used in the laboratory. I don't know if you'd use it outside in the garden, but it might be nice for indoor plants. You just push that, and that provides the power to spray this. Speaking of power, here's another one on the end of a hose. It gives a very nice fine spray, this particular nozzle. So all you have to do is hook it up to your hose, turn on the valve, and you again will get a very nice fine spray. Well, let's see how some of these actually look and how they work. First, the rubber bulb, we just squeeze it right here. Gives a nice spray. Then we'll do the trigger type. And remember, you can adjust this. Let's turn it down. There, we get a nice fine spray. Good. Now for the hose end, and remember, whenever you have a nozzle on the end of your hose, you should always have one of these shut-off valves, and then you can control it much better. Watch this. See how easy it is to turn the volume of the water down, and that adjusts the spray. This particular nozzle really gives a very fine spray. Well, let me show you something else called a self-contained package. Now, these are all insecticides, some organic, some non-organic, but they come packaged with a sprayer just like this. Isn't that handy? Of course, you're paying for the privilege of having that. This is a real fine one, and these come pressurized. Now, this is the standard one you see in most stores you can buy. Just push that, and all the power is right there. The trouble with these, though, is they don't spray upside down. So, hey, you're going to get underneath the leaves. Well, one company thought of that, and they came up with a special package, and the way the pressure material is put into the package, then it allows you to turn this upside down and to spray underneath the leaves. Isn't that novel? Well, now let's clear these away and see if we can get a few other things, a little handier type sprayers. Well, let's step up to the next size now. Here's a gallon jug with the same nozzle, the trigger nozzle, attached to it. So now you can carry this around, and you really have quite a lot of liquid there. You can spray a long time if your hand can hold up. Remember, you still have to keep squeezing here each time you want a shot of the insecticide or fertilizer, whatever you're squirting out. And after a while, your hand can get a little tired. So I've got another one that's a little easier to use. It's called a trombone type of sprayer. And this one is just the top and the nozzle. It fits onto your own jar or container. Hose goes down into the material. Now watch this. You just grab it, hold here, and you see the weight's all right on this arm. And you just pull this back and push. And each time you push, you get a spray out. That nice? Saves a lot of hand power, turns it into arm power. But here's one that's even better. This is double action or double piston. Let me show you how this one works. You don't pull this hand back, you hold it with this one. It has its own tank that comes right there. And watch, as this goes in and out, it's going to work. See that? Every time there's action, you get a spray on the end. It's kind of nice, too, because the spray nozzle can go up or down, and now you get underneath the leaves, and it really has a nice fine spray too. Well, I've got good news and bad news for you on this one. This is a wireless, battery operated. This is just a charger here, and you charge it up, and now all the power's right in here. All you have to do is push that button like that, spray comes right out. You can turn the nozzle up or down or around. Really neat. I love this one. The bad news, though, is they don't make this anymore. Can you imagine that?